Hey guys, this is Nick over here at Randy's Transmissions, getting ready to do another installation video for you. We will be going over the 2nd gen Fluidyne Transmission Cooler installation with the line kit and heater bypass. Right off the bat, what you're going to need to do this kit is going to be listed above, starting from wrenches, line cutting tools, extensions, everything you're going to need to get this done. It's going to take you about 2.5 hours from start to finish. And now we're gonna go with just removing the bumper to give us easy access to everything we need to get to. You're gonna wanna start by disconnecting all your electrical connectors, i.e. fog lamps, horns, anything like that you might have tied up in your bumper. Go ahead and remove all brackets holding it attached to the truck and get the thing pulled right out of the way. Sometimes it's easier to have 2 sets of hands to do this, but Adam can do it fairly easily, as you can see. And we're just gonna have to get it out of the way and set it on the side. And we're gonna go ahead and start cutting our cooler lines now and getting them out of the way. And with our cutting tool, we're gonna go ahead and snip both these rubber lines and push them out of the way so it doesn't leak on you. And with those out of the way, you're going to be able to unbolt the factory cooler from the radiator support and pull her directly out. Once we have the cooler completely out of the way, we're gonna now work on getting the rest of our OEM hard lines out of the way by first cutting off the lines up by the heat exchanger and then cutting the lines off down there by the side of the engine block to make it easier to pull these pieces out. You're also gonna wanna make sure you disconnect all your plastic retainers off your block so you can get these pulled out easily. And once the lines are removed off the heat exchanger, they do like to drip a lot of fluid out. You can either flush them out the best you can or go purchase these GIC caps and plug the holes off like we like to. We're gonna now remove the rest of the OEM cooler lines from the case by taking 2 sets of wrenches, cracking them loose. And then don't forget to remove the fitting that's in the case itself. When installing the new GIC fitting, throw a little thread sealant or anaerobic sealant on the threads and go ahead and install those. For our next step, we're going to begin to prep the cooler and lines, and to do so you're going to want to take a little bit of thread sealant, anaerobic sealant, throw it on the threads and zip those down on the cooler. And we're going to want to make sure when we're installing the hoses that the 45-degree angle hose goes on the outermost fitting and our 90-degree hose as such goes on the innermost fitting. That way they install correctly on the transmission. And with the hoses now installed on the cooler, we're going to begin to route them back through the radiator support where the OEM lines went through. It's going to take a little bit of finessing, and we're going to want to just snug up the cooler with a nut just to hold it in place. And once we get that held in place, you're going to want to start routing the hoses back down along the frame rail to the transmission. The 45-degree angle fitting is going to go into the front of the case, and the 90-degree fitting is going to go on the rear of the case. And when you're installing both of these, you're going to want to make sure you take note of the position that they're in so you're not catching any shift linkages or preventing it from shifting into park or drive as such. With those tight, we're going to now take some zip ties and tie these lines out of the way. Up by the gearbox, you're going to notice there's a tight spot where it's going to want to rub. Just go ahead and strap this to the ground right here. And then we're going to finish zipping the cooler down to the radiator support and begin to start checking our fluid levels. Make sure we do that with the truck running in neutral, top it off to where we have it in the nice middle marks of the hashes, and make sure we have no leaks or anything coming from underneath the truck before we finish installing this bumper and do a road test. If you do have any questions on this install, feel free to reach out to us, and thank you for joining us for our instructional video. We'll see you on the next one.